Matthew chapter 7, verse 1 says, "Do not judge others, and you will not be judged, for you will be treated as you treat others. The standard you use in judging is the standard by which you will be judged." And then John chapter 3, verse 17 says, "God sent his Son into the world, not to judge the world, but to save the world through him." To judge is to be judged. When you see somebody walking down the street, your first instinct is to judge them. To think either if they're rich or they're poor, if they would be a good friend or a bad friend, if they're on drugs or if they're not. Or even by appearance, we could tell in quotations if somebody follows Jesus or does not follow Jesus. If they have the fancy clothes on, if they have the good looks, the hair's all groomed neatly, but if they're wearing raggedy clothes and they're standing on the side of a street begging for money, then they're not a Christian. Then they don't follow God. But just as quick as you judged them, God judges us just that fast. See, when we're in the throne room before God, and we're like, "God, why?" And he's going to be like, "Remember that time you judged my son? Remember that time you judged them because of how they looked, because of how they dressed, or the words that came out of their mouth? Remember that day when you didn't know one thing about them, but your first instinct was to judge? Remember that." You know that quote, "Don't judge a book by its cover." Instead of judging it by its cover, judge it by its context. The beginning chapters all the way to the end chapters. You don't know how that person grew up. You don't know what lifestyle they went through. Think of Jesus. Jesus had everything. As John chapter 1, verses 1 through 5 tell us, Jesus was the Word and he was with God in the beginning. He had everything. He was the King, sitting right next to God in heaven. But when he saw us sinning, he looked down and he said, "They're worth dying for. I love them so much, I'm going to die for them." And he came down on earth in human form in raggedy clothes, sitting with the sinners and the thieves and the broken and lost, instead of the kings and the rich and the all-powerful. Jesus didn't judge by its cover. Even when they turned their back on him, and even when they manipulated him, he still loved them, and he still had hope for them, and he still believed, "Hey, I know your heart, and I still love you." So if Jesus does it, why can't we? If to judge is to be judged, how would you want to judge others? If you believed in that saying, "Treat others how you want to be treated," how would you treat that person? Would you be kind to them for no reason? Would you help them when they needed help? Would you pray for them even when they didn't want your prayers? Every day is a battle. Every day is a battle. Our jobs as Christians is to spread the same love Jesus shows you. You don't have to, but that's your job. That's your job. Because you could be the only Jesus that person ever has. They probably never went to church. Their parents might have died. Their parents might be on drugs. They might be who knows where. And then, you show up out of nowhere and you tell them about the great, amazing Jesus and how he loves you so much. And you could be the reason that person turns their life to Christ. But if you judge them off of their first looks, would you still want to do the same? And don't you dare get scared. Because one time you were at your lowest. One time you needed somebody to not judge you by your cover. And somebody did. So don't you dare turn your back from them. Because that person needs you. So yeah. You could have listened to me all you wanted. But if you didn't hear what I was saying, then it's no good use. To judge is to be judged.